The colony ship Astrius had been drifting through the quiet dark for nearly 7 years when everything began to feel routine. Too routine. I was part of Maintenance Division B, basically the kind of job nobody notices unless something goes wrong. Pipes, vents, pressure seals, electrical conduits. The hidden veins of the ship. I spent most of my time crawling through narrow corridors no one else ever saw, fixing problems that weren't supposed to exist in the first place. It was peaceful. Lonely, sometimes, but peaceful. At least it was until that day. Beginning. The door that shouldn't have been there. It started with a pressure irregularity on Deck 17. Deck 17 was off-limits. Not officially, of course. There was no sign, no warning, no red tape across the corridor. But everyone knew nothing on Deck 17 ever needed maintenance. It was one of those perfectly sealed sections of the ship, reserved for future expansion or classified cargo, depending on who you asked. Still, the system log doesn't lie. A pressure fluctuation had been detected. Minor, but consistent. Something was wrong.
So they sent me.
I remember stepping out of the elevator and immediately feeling it. The air was different.
Cooler. Thinner.
Not dangerously so, but enough that my skin prickled. The lights were dimmer too, flickering slightly, like they weren't used to being on. No footsteps echoed here. No hum of distant voices. Just silence. I checked my handheld scanner. The anomaly was further down the corridor. And that's when I saw the door. It wasn't on any map. I knew the layout of the ship better than most people. I'd memorized it out of boredom during long shifts. But this door, this smooth, curved panel embedded into the wall, wasn't supposed to exist. No handle. No keypad. Just a faint blue seam outlining its edges. Great, I muttered. Hidden doors now. My scanner beeped again. The pressure anomaly was coming from behind it. Of course it was. I hesitated. This wasn't standard procedure. Anything unregistered was supposed to be reported, not investigated alone. But calling it in would take hours, maybe days. And if it turned out to be nothing, I'd look like an idiot. I stepped closer. The door didn't react at first. Then, as if sensing my presence, the blue seam pulsed.
Once. Twice.
And with a soft hiss, it slid open. Inside was a room that shouldn't exist. It was too organic. That's the only word I could think of. The walls weren't metal. Not exactly. They had a smooth, almost living texture, like polished stone infused with light. Faint patterns pulsed beneath the surface, shifting like veins carrying energy instead of blood. The air was warmer here, and it smelled faintly sweet. I stepped inside, heart pounding. Hello? I called out. No response. Just that same quiet, breathing hum. At the center of the room was a structure, something like a cocoon or a pod. Translucent, glowing softly from within. I took another step forward, and that's when I heard it.
A sound. Soft.
Almost like breathing. The moment everything changed. I didn't mean to look. I really didn't. But the pod shifted slightly, and the translucent surface cleared just enough for me to see inside. And inside was her. She wasn't human. Not entirely. Her form was similar, arms, legs, a face, but everything about her was different. Her skin shimmered faintly, like it was reflecting light that didn't exist. Her hair, or what I thought was hair, floated around her head in soft, weightless strands, glowing faintly at the tips. She was curled slightly, as if resting. And she was exposed. Not in the way that mattered to humans, but in a way that felt deeply private. Vulnerable. Like I was witnessing something I wasn't meant to see. And then, her eyes opened. They locked onto mine instantly.
Wide. Bright.
And filled with something I couldn't name. She froze. Completely still. like time itself had stopped for her. For a second, neither of us moved. Neither of us breathed. Then everything happened at once. The pod's surface darkened rapidly, sealing her from view. The room's soft glow flickered violently, and a sharp, high-pitched tone filled the air. I stumbled back, heart racing. I'm sorry, I blurted out, even though I had no idea if she could understand me. I didn't mean to, I was just... The tone intensified. The walls pulsed faster. And then, silence. The door behind me slid open again, like I was being told to leave.
Now.
I didn't argue. I turned and ran. Middle. The girl behind the door. I didn't report it. I should have. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the look in her eyes. Not fear. Not exactly. It was shock. Like I had broken something simply by seeing her. For 2 days, I tried to convince myself it hadn't happened. That I'd imagined it. That exhaustion had gotten to me. But the pressure anomaly was still there. And now, I couldn't stop thinking about her. So I went back. The corridor felt colder this time. Quieter. Like it remembered me. The door was still there. Waiting. I hesitated again. Okay, I whispered to myself. Just check the readings. Don't go inside. But as I stepped closer, the blue seam pulsed, and the door opened. I stepped in. Slowly. Carefully. The room looked the same, but the pod was empty. My heart dropped. Hello. I called again. Nothing. I took another step forward. Look, I'm sorry about before. I didn't mean to intrude. I didn't even know this place existed. A movement behind me. I turned. She was there, standing near the wall. She wasn't in the pod anymore. She was fully awake, and she was watching me. Up close, she was even more unreal. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, glowing faintly with shifting colors. Her skin carried that same soft shimmer, like light moved beneath it. And her movements, slow, deliberate, felt almost cautious, like she wasn't sure if I was real. I didn't mean to scare you, I said, raising my hands slightly. She didn't respond, but she didn't run either. Instead, she tilted her head, studying me. You can understand me? I asked. No answer, but something changed in her expression. Curiosity. She took a small step closer. I stayed still, didn't want to push her. Then, she spoke. Not with words. Not exactly. A sound filled my mind. Soft. Like a whisper echoing from far away. You saw me. I froze. That wasn't sound. That was inside my head. Yeah, I said quietly. I did. I'm sorry. She didn't react to the apology. Instead, she asked, why did you not leave? I hesitated, because I wanted to make sure you were okay. Another pause. Then, you are not like the others. That caught me off guard. What others? She didn't answer, but her gaze shifted slightly, toward the walls, the ship beyond them. They do not come here. Yeah, I said. I noticed. She stepped closer. Close enough now that I could see faint patterns moving beneath her skin, like constellations drifting slowly. You opened the door. I didn't know it would open, I admitted. She studied me for a long moment. Then, it only opens for those it allows. That didn't make me feel better. The truth revealed. Over the next few days, I kept returning, and each time she was there, waiting. Her name, at least the closest translation I could understand, was Lyra. She wasn't a passenger. She wasn't cargo. She was something else entirely. A survivor, she told me. Her species had been harvested, not by humans, but by something far worse. The Asturias had found her, floating in a derelict vessel, alone, barely alive. The higher authorities decided to study her, contain her, understand her. But something had gone wrong. I was not meant to wake, she explained. Not yet. Because of me? I asked. She didn't answer directly, but the silence was enough. I felt sick. I'm sorry, I said again. This time, she responded. It is not entirely bad. I looked up. What do you mean? She hesitated. Then, I remember more now. Connection. As the days passed, something changed between us. She began to trust me, and I couldn't stop going back. She showed me things, not physically, but mentally. Memories, fragments of her world. Vast skies filled with glowing structures. Oceans that shimmered like liquid light. Beings like her, moving, thinking, existing in ways I couldn't fully understand. And then, the destruction. Dark shapes in the sky. A force that consumed everything. I would wake up gasping after those visions. Shaking. They're coming, I said one day, after one of the memories. Yes, she replied. They'll find you here. They will find everything. That's when I realized. She wasn't just hiding. She was waiting. And the choice. They can't keep you here, I said. They believe they can. No. I shook my head. I mean it. If those things are coming, this ship isn't safe. She looked at me. Really looked. You would help me leave? I didn't hesitate. Yeah. It was insane. Risky. Probably treason. But I didn't care. The escape. Getting her out wasn't easy. But maintenance had its advantages. Hidden routes. Unmonitored corridors. Access points no one else thought about. We moved at night. Slowly. Carefully. She stayed close to me. Silent. And for the first time, she seemed afraid. We reached the hangar. A small shuttle. Old. Barely used. Can you fly? I asked. She nodded slightly. Better than you. I smiled despite everything. Good. We boarded. Alarms started blaring. Too late. They'd noticed. Go! I shouted. The shuttle roared to life. And as we launched into the darkness, I looked back at the Asturias, my home, and the place where everything changed. Epilogue. Out in the void, far from the ship, she looked at me. You changed my path. I shrugged slightly. You changed mine too. A pause. Then, they will come. I know. Will you stay? I looked out at the endless stars, then back at her. Yeah, I said. I think I will. And for the first time, she didn't freeze when I looked at her. She smiled.